You're watching NDTV, and over the next hour, we are going to bring you exclusive details of how a public sector company has taken the army for a ride. It's all linked to the stunning revelations that were made by the army chief yesterday. How 14 crore bribe was allegedly offered to him to push through the Tatra trucks. Now, what are these trucks? How is the army being cheated? All that over the next hour here on NDTV. So don't go anywhere. We have those exclusive details for you coming up. Let me just, before I hand over and get all those details, let me just introduce you to our panel here. We are joined by General Raj Kadyan. He's going to be giving us the army's perspective. We have Anil Bakshi, one of the key players. He's a whistleblower in this case. We have Wing Commander Praful Bakshi as well, strategic analyst. He's going to give us his perspective. And of course, NDTV's defense editor Nitin Gokhale is here, giving us exclusive details of how that is taking place, how the army is being overcharged. Nitin, it's over to you. What are these details that you're breaking at this hour?
Well, thank you, Sunitra, and thank you all of you for coming here, joining us here. Basically, we are going to tell you how these Tatra trucks, which are being in service in the army for the past 26 years, are generally overpriced. In fact, a 4x4 Tatra vehicle sourced from Czech Republic since 1986 costs something between 75 to 80 lakhs, which is given to the army, supplied to the army by the Bharat Earth Movers Limited, a defense public sector unit. But if you look at a comparative vehicle supplied by other competitors like Tata Motors and Ashok Leyland, they cost anything between 16 to 18 lakhs. Now, nobody has been able to explain really why these trucks are so expensive and why the BEML, the Bharat Earth Movers Limited, actually charges the army nearly 75 to 80 lakhs per truck when they could actually get those trucks at about less than 1/4 of that cost.
Nitin, what's interesting and fascinating for viewers and for people who are outside like me is that these Tatra trucks, it's not like it's a new phenomenon. They have been in the army for a long time. So please explain how that happens, that a PSU is selling this, is giving it, supplying this to the army at exorbitant costs, and how is it it's coming out now, whereas they've been in the army for so many years?
Well, in the initial years, maybe in the 80s and the 90s, these trucks were the only ones which were available really in those days. But over the past 15 years or so, there are competitors who can give it at a much lower cost, and they are indigenously produced. And yet, to keep Bharat Earth Movers Limited in a profitable margin kind of situation, and to keep it as a defense Navratna or Mini Ratna as they call it, they continue to have that monopoly over supply of these Tatra trucks to the army. In fact, we have Anil Bakshi, who is one of the contractors who has dealt with BEML for over a decade now. He can tell us what exactly happens with these trucks and how these trucks are really not something that the army is really happy with in certain cases. Anil, you've been dealing with these trucks. What are the defects and faults that you have?
See, basic faults is that there are problems with the alternators, there are problems with the self, then there are tire problems. Their tire availability is not there. If you want more like brand new tires from for the old trucks which are already using, they are not available. Likewise, and otherwise the parts also are not available. So whenever there is an issue, there is a new truck or an old truck, if there is an issue, the part availability, BML itself says it will take around 1 to 2 years time.
Okay.
So that's the main problem which is there, I think.
And can you just give us an estimate of how many such trucks are there in the system?
There should be around 20,000 plus trucks, more than that.
20,000. So Nitin, just the scale, how much do you estimate the scale of this scam?
Well, in terms of amount, it's really difficult to calculate over the years. But if you look at the latest, revelation that 1,600 trucks were to be ordered by the army, which is now stuck with the MOD right now. Yes, in fact, and therefore, I think we have General Raj Kadyan, who's been a deputy chief of the army. Can you tell us how useful these trucks are and how only one company keeps on supplying to the army? Don't you think that's it's a monopoly which actually creates a kind of lack of accountability amongst these companies?
As far as the trucks are concerned, I think I endorse what Mr. Bakshi has said, that in the 1999 Operation Vijay,
Yes.
in my corps, I was a corps commander then, commanding a strike corps, we had some of these trucks which were required when we were mobilized, and tire shortage was one of the problems which we couldn't overcome.
And 1 to 2 years, you said it takes sometimes to get.
I don't really know how long, but it was not available. We didn't wanted them immediately. They were not available. There was a problem in the tires. As far as monopoly is concerned, everybody. You don't require an expert to say that if you are sourcing a kind of a supply, don't go to only one source, because then they will exploit you. It has to be multi-source so that there is a competition. So price is also low, the quality is also better.
Okay.
That's a...
Maybe we can get Wing Commander Bakshi in, give us a perspective of how this was taking place. You have, someone who blew the whistle, Colonel Bakshi over here, and Wing Commander Bakshi is also there giving us the thing. So how does this happen? How is it that year after year, this has been happening, and some of the information that Nitin has given about the kind of difference that is there if they sourced it from somewhere else, or how much it should have been if they got it from Tata's, a similar kind of vehicle. How did this happen?
Wing Commander Bakshi.
You see, when you have, as General Qadian just brought out, one source only, and that source also is not manufacturing in India, they're actually exporting it from outside, and then generating further cost on it, and ultimately the government is paying a stupendous amount, 3 times or 4 times more. Obviously, there is a lacuna in this. It all stems from lack of indigenization. Our defense industry is suffering from 1947 onwards because of lack of indigenization.
Yes.
And when there is lack of indigenization, you depend on outside sources. As Corps Commander General Qadian just now mentioned, that when the strike corps was requiring it, you were having breakdowns. It's not only common to the trucks, it is common to the tanks, it's common to the guns. You don't make the barrels, you don't make the tanks, you don't make aircraft, engine. It is very strange that we are only stuck up with this small thing like trucks.